You ready for this? Here we go. Hey guys, Happy New Year! Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a full month of nothing new. I am so excited about this month. If you have not heard my announcements, if you are new here, January here on my channel is going to be a full month of nothing new. No new product reviews, no will I buy it. I am just going to be focusing on the things that I have in my collection that I already love. So I thought what better way to kick off a full month of nothing new than with a full face of nothing new. So Allie Glines here on YouTube is the originator of these videos, and I know they have kind of caught on. I've seen a lot of people doing them. I've done a few on my channel as well, but I will list Allie's channel, and if she has a playlist, I'll list that down below. But that's what we're doing today. We're going to be creating this makeup look using products that have been in my collection, some for a very, very long time. But I hope that you guys are excited about it. I hope that you are excited about this full month of nothing new. I have so many fun videos coming up for you guys. It is going to be a blast here on my channel this month, so make sure that you are subscribed if you have not yet subscribed to my channel. And of course, hit that notification bell just so that you know every time I upload a new video. And with that said, let's go ahead and put on this full face of nothing new. Alright you guys, so we are going to kick things off with a little bit of the Garnier Illuminating Moisturizer. If you watched my year-end favorites, you will know that this made it in there, and I have discovered that my favorite way to use this is to use a decent amount of this. I find when I'm really pretty generous in how much I use, I like it a little bit more, so I'm taking a pretty good amount of this and we're just going to apply that everywhere basically. So for foundation, we're going to dip into the Physicians Formula, the Healthy Foundation. Now, I really enjoy this foundation, but I don't use it as often as I should because the size of this bottle is like 1/4 of an inch too tall to fit into my foundation drawer where all of my other foundations live. So I have to store this one in a different area, and I often just forget that I have it because it's in a drawer that I don't reach into all the time. So I do have 2 shades of this, and mixing them together tends to give me the best shade match. I have LW2 and MW2. So I'm taking both of those just on the back of my hand. We're going to kind of swirl those together, and then I'm just going to tap them on my face, and we're going to use a sponge today. Does anyone else think that this foundation smells kind of like caramel? I don't know why I think that. I've never heard anyone say that before, but it smells like cooked caramel or like maple caramel. I don't know. It has a very donut topping scent to me, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love it. So for concealer today, I'm gonna go in with my Milani Conceal and Perfect concealer. I really want to go get another shade of this because this one is just a hair too light for me. This one is in the shade 115 Light Nude. It works pretty well for under my eyes, and we're going to use this also as an eye primer today. And for this concealer, I'm going to take my Ulta Beauty mini sponge to blend it in. So I am so excited about what is on the schedule for January. I am definitely going to be doing a 7 looks video on the Soft Glam palette. I am so sorry to those of you guys that have been asking for that video for months and months now. I was initially planning to get that up in the fall, and then that fall turned to I'll get it up before Thanksgiving. And then Thanksgiving came and went, and then holidays were upon us, and I just didn't have time to do it. I always have the idea that I'll have more time, or that things won't take as much time as they always end up taking. So very excited to finally get that video up for you guys. That will be coming up. I also have some collaborations coming up that I'm very excited about. So for the rest of my face, I have a couple of spots that need to be concealed. I'm going to go in with this concealer. I got this from YesStyle. This is from the brand The Same, and it's just this itty bitty tiny concealer. I will link it down below. This is in the shade 1.5. This is such a great little concealer, especially for blemishes. I don't like using it under my eyes as much, but I love this for blemishes because it's such a good color match for me, and it's a really lightweight concealer, but it has really good coverage to it. Now let's go ahead and move into bronzer. So for bronzer today, I'm going to take this old favorite. This is the Bare Minerals Invisible Bronzer. I think this is being discontinued if it has not already been discontinued. That's so unfortunate because I love this bronzer so much. I definitely don't give it as much love as I should. It's also one that's a little bit too light for me to use in the summertime, so sometimes come fall and winter when I start to get a little bit more fair, I forget that that is the time to pull this bronzer out. I have it in the Fair Light version. So I'm just going to take that on my Moda blush brush, and we're just going to pop that onto my cheeks. Look how pretty and luminous that is. Oh, I love it. I also feel like my background is really dark. So today when I'm filming this is actually just a couple days after Christmas, so my kids are all home with me, and today I wanted to get ready for my January videos. I wanted to change my backdrop. So I think I've mentioned this before, but I used to do a lot of photography professionally, and I have a lot of photography equipment, and I have some old paper backdrops that I used to use for high school seniors and for babies sometimes, and I don't use them very often. I didn't even use them very often back when I did photography. I did a lot more natural light work, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna whip out those paper backdrops and try something different. So I had one that was like a light tan color, and then I had an olive green, but I had my son down here helping me try out these backdrops and set them up because these are really long, like, oh gosh, they're probably 8 feet long, maybe 10 feet wide. They're really, really bulky and difficult to put up and to work with, and so I put the tan one up, and then I turned all my lights on, turned my camera on to see how it looked. It was hideous. It did not look good at all. I mean, it made everything around me, including me, look like an Oompa Loompa, just super warm and orange, but in a very like dingy, yucky sort of way. It just was not pretty. So I took that one down. I thought, okay, let's go with the olive green. Put the olive green one up, and that one was just way too dark. It looked like a black hole behind me. So I had to take that one down too. And then I decided to go with the gray paper backdrop, which happens to be almost the same color as my old backdrop, but that's what we went with. It may not even look that different to you guys. So basically all that work, it took me like an hour and a half, and we're back with a gray backdrop. I'm definitely not gonna take it back down because my son, by the third round, was like, this is it, I am done. I wanna go play with my Christmas presents. All right, so before we get too far and before we jump into the eyes officially, I'm going to set my eye primer down, or my concealer down on my eyelids just before it starts to crease. We are going to be using the Chocolate Bar palette today for the makeup look, along with another single eyeshadow, but I do want to go into this matte white right here, and just with my Morphe M504 brush, we're just going to tap out those creases and set down my lid. Okay, so now let's go ahead and do our eyebrows really quick. I'm going to go in with this right here. This is the Wet n Wild retractable brow pencil. Now, after doing my 2019 favorites video, the only pencil I mentioned in that video was the Ulta Brow Pencil, which is definitely my favorite. But I also really loved and used this one a lot during the year 2019. I kind of feel like I should have mentioned it because I definitely loved this for most of the year, but I really have just kind of gotten used to using a slim brow pencil. So going back to this or to my old e.l.f. pencil, I miss the precision that the micro pencils give. I really wish that Wet n Wild made this exact pencil formula and color in a slim version. That would be a dynamite brow pencil because I love the consistency and color of this one. So I would love to know what kind of New Year resolutions you have, or even if you don't officially set resolutions for yourself, because I know a lot of people don't officially do New Year's resolutions, which I can kind of understand, especially if you've done enough New Year's resolutions where January comes around and you are just overly ambitious. You have all these great ideas of how everything in your life is going to change and be better, and you end up biting off a little bit more than you can chew and forgetting that change takes time, and you can't change everything all at once. It's just impossible to do that. So then it's easy to get discouraged and just feel like, oh, what's the point? But I would love to know if any of you guys have goals for the year, or if you just have something that you want to work on, regardless of what that's related to. Let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys are inspired to do, especially with a new decade, which I don't know. I know there's so many people talking about this is a new decade, but I'm kind of the mindset that it's just another year. We have them every year, and this one's not any different than the last one. And I don't like the idea personally of putting so much pressure on, okay, this is a new decade, I'm gonna get it right this time, because I just feel like that's a sure way to end up being disappointed, because life happens, people are human, I know I'm human, I make mistakes, and I know that change does not happen very quickly. I've learned that in my 38 years of existence on this earth. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I didn't know that for the first several years, but I've known for a while. Change is hard. Okay, so I am going to set my brows down with just a little bit of the Maybelline Fiber Volumizer. I could not find this the last time I was in my Marshalls, which is where I initially bought this. I wanted to buy a backup because this one is getting a little bit low. It does a really good job of giving my eyebrows some texture, but also setting them in place for pretty much the whole day. All right, so now let's jump into the eyeshadow palette. So I picked this one specifically because this, I think, is the palette that has been the most neglected in my entire makeup collection for a very, very long time. It's an amazing palette. It's also a very nostalgic palette. If you've been watching YouTube videos for a while, you'll remember the days when this had a very long moment in the spotlight here on YouTube. People raved about this thing, and I have to say the quality of this eyeshadow palette is fantastic. It's an amazing neutral palette. If you also remember the Urban Decay original Naked palette, that palette was the palette I think that started like the palette revolution when eyeshadow palettes just became the thing. But this palette is better, in my opinion, than the Urban Decay Naked palette. If you are into neutrals, I think the performance and color setup of this one is even better than the Urban Decay. The smell is so incredible. I love the smell of the Too Faced product. So real quickly, I'm just going to go into this milk chocolate shade right here and start off right above my crease. Kind of place that there. I don't know, I kind of feel like Too Faced has just fallen off of my radar. But for some reason, I just have not been all that interested in picking up more Too Faced palettes. Even though I think the formula of this one is so amazing. I did think about getting the gingerbread palette or the extra spicy gingerbread palette. I also thought about getting the buttered rum palette that came out this holiday season because so many people seem to love that one. Might have something to do with just Too Faced branding and just kind of their aesthetic. It's not really my style. It just feels a little bit too young for me. And I know that's kind of silly. It's not something I consciously think about, but I think that might be part of the reason that I gravitate towards other companies or other eyeshadow palettes because just their whole vibe fits me a little bit better. Now I'm going to take that same color on this little brush right here, which is from Coastal Scents. I'm not quite sure what this one is called. It's the BRBSO2. Is that even? I don't think that's the name of it. I will link it down below if I can find it, but I did pick this up just before Christmas, and it's a great little smudging brush. I'm going to pack just a little bit more of that milk chocolate color on the edge of this brush. I just want to build that up a little bit in this corner right here. Just to add a little bit of depth right there, but I don't want to go too dark yet because we're going to put something else in there. I would love to know how many of you guys still own the Too Faced chocolate bar palette, the original chocolate bar palette that I'm using, or if you have ever owned it, maybe if you have decluttered it, because I'm not going to lie, it's very likely that most of you, if you had this palette as long as I have had it, you probably would have decluttered it by now, but I am not one of those people. I am very sentimental when it comes to tossing my eyeshadow palettes. Okay, so now I want to go into this shade right here, which does look a little bit green. I've always kind of wished that this shade would show up a little bit more green on the eyes than it actually does. So we're going to dip into that color, which is called Gilded Ganache, and we're going to take that with the Wayne Goss number 18 brush. I'm going to just pack a little bit on the tip right there, and we're just going to start tapping that right on this outer corner right here. I'm just kind of rounding it through my crease and pulling it in a little bit into my crease and also across my lid, almost, not quite to the halfway mark. That is so pretty. Why do I not use this palette? The smell of this, oh, takes me back, man. I know some people are not into scented products, but I'm not into all scented products, but this is one that I really, it just adds to the joy of using them. I think they smell so good. So next I was debating what to do with this. So I almost always, when I'm reaching for this palette, grab Marzipan and just pop that on my lid because it's just such a perfectly done lid shade. I mean, it's like a neutral sort of champagne shell pink that's not too light. It's such a beautiful shade for the lid. But I think today I actually want to go in with my Scattered Light Hourglass little pot. This one is in the color Foil. I did get this several months back during one of the holiday Sephora sales that they had. I really like it. I kind of wish I liked it more than I did, and I think part of that might be just the shades that I kept. I ended up giving away one of the other shades, the shade Ray, and keeping these two. And I like them, but I feel like this color right here, which is in the color Foil again, is just, it's a pretty strong gold. I have to be in the mood for this strong of a gold, or it has to be the right look. It's not like a color that you could throw on the lid with any eye look. Let me know if you guys have any shade recommendations from their line that are a little bit more kind of champagne toned or neutral toned. But let's go ahead and take this one. I'm just taking a little bit onto my finger, and we're going to just tap that all across the center of the lid. Okay, that looks gorgeous with that color. Oh, I was a little worried it would be too warm to go with that green, but that is such a pretty combination. Ooh, I'm liking it a little bit more already. So now I want to go back to my Wayne Goss brush. There's no more product on this, but I'm just kind of taking what's left on that brush and just feathering this little edge right here, just so there's not a harsh line. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into my little sponge that I used for concealer right here. I'm just going to tap this just right over this kind of edge right here, just to make sure that this line is nice and clean. So I'm going to add a little bit of liner to my waterline, and then with that same Wet n Wild liner, I'm just going to kind of draw a subtle wing just right at this corner right here. I'm not even going in like a quarter of the way, just right here at this corner. So now I want to go into this dark shade right here, which is Triple Fudge. So I'm just going to go in with this little brush right here. This is from Moda. This is their little eyeliner brush from their Moda Mythical set. We're just going to take that Triple Fudge color and I'm just tapping it right on top of where we put the pencil, just to kind of lock it in and intensify it a little bit. So we do have some traveling coming up in January. My husband and I think I mentioned this during the holiday season, his work holiday party is actually the second weekend in January. So we're going to California for that, which is going to be so fun. Really quickly before I finish that story, I'm just going to take a little bit of the Lashtopia mascara. So we were debating what we should do on Saturday. So we've done, I think last year we just kind of hung out at the beach and just kind of explored a little bit, and then the year before that we went whale watching, which was so fun. And this year we decided we are going to go to Six Flags. A couple years ago, I think this was like 4 years ago, we got Six Flags passes. We had the choice of doing Disneyland or Six Flags, but my boys were in this phase where they were really into roller coasters, and I'm talking like record-breaking roller coasters, and Six Flags Magic Mountain has some really good record-breaking roller coasters, and so they really wanted to do Six Flags versus Disneyland. So we ended up calling Six Flags and looking into pricing, and it ended up being cheaper for us to buy season passes rather than buying 2-day passes for everybody. So we bought the whole family season passes to Six Flags. We went for 2 days in the fall, and we had so much fun, but it was so busy when we went that we were like, we need to do this again. And the passes that we bought actually included the next year's passes for free because of the weekend that we bought them. But the next spring, we took a couple of weekend trips in like April between spring break and Easter time, or maybe it was after Easter time and summer break. And we did like 3 weekend trips to California to Six Flags, which is like a 14-hour drive for us, but it was the funnest experience ever. My boys loved it. Tim and I loved it. I mean, I feel like we're both pretty adventurous and pretty big roller coaster fans, so we decided we would kind of redo that trip, but without our kids. So we're going to Six Flags. It's probably going to be pretty cold. I'm pretty sure the experience of like going on Tatsu and Drop of Doom when it's only 50 degrees outside is probably going to be a little less pleasant, but I'm super excited. I kind of feel bad. I told my oldest son that we were doing that the other day, and he was so jealous and upset, and I kind of felt bad. So now I want to finish off with the rest of the face, with the cheeks, and then we'll jump into lips. So for blush today, I want to dip into my Nude Sticks Nudies Matte Blush Bronzer Stick in the color Sunkissed. I reach for this color a lot more in the summertime, but I feel like it'll really suit this kind of warm, golden sort of look and the bronzer on the cheek. So I'm just taking that and popping it on my cheeks. I did get a lot of product on here. I probably didn't need that much. Let's try and go on both sides. How pretty that color is. All right, now for highlighter. I'm gonna go into the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. I feel like if ever there was a nothing new product that everybody probably has, it's this thing right here. How many of you guys own this highlighter? How many of you guys love this highlighter? It's kind of sat in the back as I've been trying other favorites because I have a lot of highlights that I really love. And it's the type of highlighter that I would even recommend for people that have never highlighted before, that don't know what they're missing. I'd be like, try this out. It will change your life. Now let's move into lips. I do have very dry lips today. I was actually running errands with my kids, and we were actually up at the library this morning, and I had these like crusty areas on my lips, and I just kind of was mindlessly picking at them. And I'm sure you guys did not want to hear that. But I'm telling you that because we have to be very careful about what product we put on my lips today. So I wanted to go in with just a lip liner. And I think I'm going to I might actually take a little bit of this just to try it out and see what it does. But let's start off with this lip liner. This is from Milani. This is in the color 03 Nude. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the Nude Sticks, wrong side, Nude Sticks blush. I'm just going to take a little bit on my ring finger. And we're just going to tap that onto my lips and just see what it does. I have a couple other things I'll probably pop on top of this. But I'm hoping this will kind of give my lips the same tone as my cheeks. Kind of tie everything all together. All right, we're going to take a little bit of this. This is what I was originally going to go with. This is Jubilee by MAC. I love this color. It's very, very sheer. It actually reminds me a little bit of a gloss. It has a good amount of glossiness to it, and it's somewhat sheer in color. Okay, so I think I could probably stop right there. I do want to add a little bit of gloss just because I love this gloss so much. This is Honey from Persona, which again was one that I mentioned in my year-end favorites. And I use this gloss almost any time I do my makeup lately. These are the Fenty ones I just have been loving. Alright guys, so the makeup is all done. I just want to set things down with a little bit of the ColourPop Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist, and then I will be right back with you guys. So here is the finished makeup look. I'll insert a little close-up here so you guys can get a little bit closer of a look at the eyes. But I really love how this eye look turned out. I love this gold combined with kind of this greeny sort of bronze shade in here. I think it looks so pretty. I love the combination. I really think these Hourglass Scattered Light shadows, at least this one, I think this is lovely. But if you're on a budget, I think you can find similar from the drugstore. And I think the Flower Beauty one is pretty similar to this one and a lot more affordable, and you get more options. So I would go with that one personally. But I do love how this look turned out. I think the eyes look beautiful. I am in love with my cheeks, I think, more than anything right now. I feel like this combination of that bronzer with the Nude Sticks and the Essence Pure Nude highlighter on top, it just looks very creamy. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing me play with some of these products, a lot of which are a lot older. I mean, come on. Doesn't get much older than this, but I love dipping back into this palette and some of these old favorites and even some of these somewhat newer favorites as well. I would love to know if you guys have any old favorite products that you're excited to dip into and get some use out of this month that maybe have been neglected by you. Let me know what those are in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you guys again. I hope that you will subscribe if you have not yet subscribed, and of course hit that notification bell if you don't want to miss out on the rest of my full month of nothing new. I have some really fun videos coming your way. Thank you guys again. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will see all of you in my next video. Bye. My Christmas stocking that's filled with Ghirardelli chocolate squares is actually just over there. I'm really wanting to pause this video and go break into one, but I tend to always end up with food on my face if I eat halfway through a video, so I'm going to save myself the embarrassment in editing and just wait. Just wait, man.